Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, February 8th. Skipped yesterday. Played D&D with my buddies. It was fun. Great fun. I also got a bit of mail. A couple things coming to some unboxings at some point. I had that black dragon that I haven't gotten open yet because I want to do 2 dragons at a time, so I got the green one to open with it. Which is really the one I wanted because for a campaign, I think I need red, blue, and green. So, I had to pick it up. It's on sale. That Groundhog Day sale I mentioned a week ago. Yeah. And now, a week ago, when it came time for movie day, I watched Groundhog Day, which is good. But it derailed the plans, because the week before that, I'd watched The Golden Compass. An old movie that is a cool fantasy story, yet was intended to have a couple of sequels, and never got them. And it impacts the overall tale, the overall story, because it makes the ending really weird, because it's clearly setting up for something that doesn't happen. But there's another movie on this shelf that was intended to have a couple of sequels and never got them. So, watching through the shelf, let's watch Eragon, which I've also seen. It's from 2006. Feels like, was that the same year as Golden Compass? I forget, but around there. And I remember people not really enjoying the movie and figuring, they're just people that read the book. I'm thinking it was fine. But the difference being, I'd watched The Golden Compass a number of times. I think I watched this once, maybe twice, and thought, it's fine. Not really more than that. And I remember almost nothing at all about it. Like, nothing. Like, I don't know what this movie is. I mean, it's like about a dragon and a kid and some medieval stuff and probably magic. But I don't really remember. I don't. But it was definitely supposed to have sequels and it never got them. So probably going to have its story hurt by that as well. So let's get it out of the way and check out Eragon. And I would give Eragon a 5.5 out of 10. Yeah. It wasn't as hindered by the ending as Golden Compass was, but it wasn't as good leading up to it either. From the back of the box. Prepare to enter a dazzling world of myth and magic as the first thrilling chapter of the Inheritance trilogy takes flight. They actually put that on the box. In a kingdom ravaged by darkness and tyranny, one small ray of hope emerges when Eragon, Ed Spleelers, finds a mysterious blue stone. He has quotation marks around it. That turns out to be the last dragon's egg in existence. From the moment the egg hatches, the fates of Eragon and the dragon Saphira are forever entwined, as they join forces to battle the evil king Galbatrix, John Malkovich. Packed with non-stop action, spectacular special effects, and an inspiring story about believing in yourself. Is that what the story's supposed to be about? This fantastical adventure... Well, actually, no. Fantastical adventure, USA Today, will fire up your imagination. So there's some good stuff. Jeremy Irons is cool. Okay. And I mean, and there's some stuff that's all right. There's like It seems like a cool world. This movie is 103 minutes. I feel like they should have just rounded up to a nice even 2 hours and taken the time to actually explain some of the stuff in the world and show some of the stuff that they talk about that's cool. And they don't. They like, whenever they hint at something that you're like, oh, that'd be cool, let's take a look at... Oh no, we're moving on. What are these evil people that are working for the King's Shade? They're basically the human version of Uruk-hai, and we are told that, oh, you know, they used to be against him, and now they're working for him. They're, like, they clearly have some sort of, like, they're barbarians. There's some sort of culture with them, but what is it? What made them change sides? What's going on there? I don't know. That's a secret. That'd be too entertaining. Can't be telling that. And then, you know, this culture, the Verdun or whatever that they're going towards the whole time. We get there and it's like, oh, okay, so you got, like, you have really cool costumes here. This must be an interesting, like, culture rather than just, like, a refugee group. Like, they're all kind of have like, you know, attire. It doesn't look like a refugee group. It looks like they're like a distinctive culture. Let's explore that and learn. No. Okay. Right to the battle. Just whenever anything seems like, oh, that'd be cool to know about and learn about, they're just like, no. Some things don't make sense. Like, some things really don't make sense. Eragon uses magic. Jeremy Irons tells him, magic is very difficult and it drains you of your strength. He doesn't tell them, except it's only that first time, otherwise you can willy-nilly do it for no reason all the time, using the tree stuff and the healing and the eyesight just constantly. Oh, that's fine. None of that's gonna drain. Okay, so you set it up to have a consequence to use it, and then never pay that off. And then the dragon. I cannot yet breathe fire. But what I can do is produce enough heat to turn stone into diamond. Well, you're past fire. Oh no, later on you'll get to fire, and then you have only flame breath, not turn things into diamond breath that would actually make things easy. They clearly don't know who their villain is, because they got the king here, the overacted king, sorry, on the cover. They don't have the Shade. Shade's our villain. The Shade is the villain of this movie, but that's just like a minor lieutenant. They're not important, because they're only relevant to this movie. And this is, after all, literally on the back of this box. First thrilling chapter of the Inheritance trilogy. Whoopsie! Like that Shade isn't even on the back of the box. Like they're not important at all. And clearly, this guy, the guy who Brahms, Jeremy Irons, killed his father. Clearly, he's gonna be important. He's just a setup. Like, he feels like he's in there mainly just as a setup. Like, he's being set up for the future. Oh well. They could have cut out. There's a good spot where they could cut out of this movie and it wouldn't feel like there needed to be another movie. I mean, other than the fact that the evil king is still clearly in charge. But if you cut out once he tells his joke like, oh, you know, some friends can't be replaced. Some don't have to. Haha, I made you think your dragon's dead even though you have like a telepathic connection with the dragon, and so why would you even start asking me about your dragon? You would have just thought about it, but that wouldn't have allowed my joke. And if they cut out after that reunion with the dragon before going off to learn little details about, oh no, there's more to do, you work with them, I'm going to my people, could have had a decent ending spot there that doesn't too heavily rely on having a sequel. But they were really confident that they were going to have one. And I paused at spectacular special effects. A lot of them were good. In general, a lot were good. When they were getting close to the... Is it Verdun? I don't know. They have lots of weird names for things, but they don't use them or present them in ways that make them memorable. They just kind of assume that you know them. Maybe they figure you've read the books. I haven't. But as they're going near them, they're going through this mountain area where there's all these waterfalls. And it's matte paintings. It's digital matte paintings. And they're bad. They're really bad. There's, like, something's off with the scale of them or something. Like, they're like... It's not good. I'm like, oh, you have a bigger budget than that. You hired Jeremy Irons. I know you have a bigger budget than that. But I guess he's no longer in the feature, so... Oh, alright, we spent all our money on him. Let's, he's died by now. Let's hold back and save some money for the other two. No? Okay. They show the dragon armor before it's on the dragon. And then when they put it on the dragon, it's different armor. It is distinctly a different face covering. It would have been a cooler face covering, but not as expressive for the dragon to show emotion. Which it did. There was things like that. That wasn't bad. Yeah, some things were glossed over, like how did he end up getting his disguise and sneaking into the temple a la Wizard of Oz kind of looking place. Yeah, there were things that were glossed over and skipped that I think would have been interesting. King Dude was a bit overacted or overdirected, I don't know. Even at the beginning, like the reason, like they call it a stone in the back, the fact that they say, like he says, I want my stone back, when he knows it's a dragon egg, and he's talking to his shade that knows it's a dragon egg, but he uses the word stone, it bothers me. I'm like, that feels like you are talking for the audience. The only reason you said that is for the audience. He didn't say that for himself. He didn't say that for who he's talking to. Because they all know he is literally speaking for the audience, trying to give some sort of mystery that the audience won't know what's going on. Well, we do. I don't know. It's just some weird stuff. It's just little bits that didn't... But there are bits throughout it that are cool. I mean, I'm not really confident in what their dragon lore is, but it definitely has dragons feeling pretty weak. But I guess that explains how the king was able to kill all the dragons, because they're so weak. But there's some cool scenes of the dragon flying, and there's... some cool sets and some cool costume design. Some things that I just wish we'd have gotten to see a little more of, really. Not all bad. I would not recommend it, though. Because it's not going anywhere. Because it is the only thrilling chapter in the Inheritance trilogy. Which a trilogy only having one third of itself, not the best. But yeah. So, that's it. That's my thoughts. I don't really have like I said, I hadn't watched it a huge number of times, so I didn't really have a nostalgic connection to it. I probably had a bit more of one for Golden Compass. So that didn't do it any favors. But, But it wasn't as good as I'd remembered. I'd remembered thinking it was better. And yet, I'd not returned to it, so perhaps I knew. Thank you for joining me, and join me as my journey continues.